Good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are in the world, and welcome back to Just in Time Genie with Carol and Ellie. And this week, we are super excited to start our little journey that we had already announced last week, where we take you through a series of steps, and at the end, hopefully you have your own plan where you can increase your own leadership. Carol, is there anything you want to add or say?
Oh, well, just the fact that leadership is such an important topic. I mean, if you go on LinkedIn on any given day, you're going to find a multitude of posts regarding this topic. So I think this is timely. I think it's important. And I think it's really important for people to know there's all different types of leadership. And that's what we're going to get into a little bit.
Yeah. And today we chose to take you through a model that comes from the Coactive Training Institute teachings, and it's called 5 Ways to Lead. It comes from a book that Karen Kimsey-House and Henry Kimsey-House wrote, and it's called 5 Ways to Lead, Coactive Leadership. And it's got a model of 5. It goes from the principles and premises that everyone is a leader, and there are, depending on where we are in our life, we're always in a position where we can lead. So holding our power, not giving it away, and being able to respond to the world. So being response able, and create our own world, basically. And more importantly, stay in connection with ourselves and each other. And so this model is based on 5 different positions. We will go through them. And what we'd like to do, and we'll give you, at the end of this, what we'll do is we will give you a little piece of homework. If you send us your email, we will send you over the little sheet where you can start thinking about it, so that little by little with your homeworks, you'll get to your plan. So we'll just go through the definitions, and Carol will start with the first one, which is the leader from within.
Yeah, and as Ellie and I were going through this, the leader from within, that really struck me, because with my own coaching clients, this is one of the ones we focus on quite a bit. So being a leader from within, it's practicing living from the inside rather than the outside in. And it's talking about letting go of limiting beliefs and nourishing your self-acceptance. It's clarifying your personal values and discovering your life purpose. And often this is hard because there's a lot of mind chatter, and then you have your past failures and emotional blocks that stand in your way. So that trick to find your path and the purpose and direction to happiness and all that we desire is to kind of figure out what are these blocks, which of course most of them are subconscious. So it's doing that inner work that's necessary to then go to your goals.
Right. And the within part it comes from integrity, and in the coactive world, I'm going to translate it because not everybody's coactive. So I'm just going to translate it. What we mean by coactive is that there is a balance and potential in what you're able to do and act on based on how you're being. And so, Carol will talk from her gifts and perspectives about energy and blockages, and I might talk about self-limiting beliefs and things like that, but we will focus on this balance between how you are inside and what you're able to do outside, right? So the plan is action, but it comes from an understanding and a knowledge and a work from the inside, which is where the within comes, right?
Absolutely.
Right. And next is leader in front. And do you want to do that one, Carol, or shall I?
Oh, you can do that one.
I'll do that one. Okay, so the leader from in front is the classical leader, the sort of the boss, the one who's at the front. And key here for Carol and I is that it's not just about having a title, right? It is about having a vision, but it's this unique concoction of having a vision and being able to communicate it clearly so that you're influencing and creating that vision for other people and they want to follow you. And also being willing and brave enough to stand on your own up there and take lead, right? So this is the leader in front. It's the classical one everyone thinks about.
Yeah. Okay. And that's what I love about this, because I think not everybody thinks about leadership from all these different angles.
Right.
And you see yourself in some of these descriptions at either different times in your career or even from week to week, depending on the situation.
Correct. And it's important that we understand that we're always leading.
Yes.
We don't need permission or role or a title for it.
Exactly. So the next one is leading from behind. And this is practicing that generous, open-hearted service to others. It's well, for me, it was always being kind of the mama bear, like, wanting to make sure everybody's okay, but giving them, empowering them to do their own thing, but knowing that they have that safety net.
Yeah.
And part of that is, having the ability to listen really deeply, acknowledge others in an authentic way, and be their champion. Again, be that safety net. And it's not, because I think earlier in my career, I thought, all right, I'll just take care of it. I'll just help them to look good and I'll take care of it, which that's not really leading. That's just me taking away from them. So I think leading from behind is exactly what it sounds like, just being there for them, and giving them guidance, but letting them have the glory.
Right. And typically, you've just talked about an office situation, but typically it's what parents do. And here it's very important for us as servant leaders to remember what is in service of the people. So it's not to help or to give something that isn't necessary, but always to constantly think what's in service of the growth of these people. So we're lifting from the back, right?
Right.
Yeah. So go for the next one, the leading from beside. So leading from beside is when you're literally side by side and you're leaning in 100% each. And this is the key one, not with your bum half out, kind of not trusting. The key when you're co-leading, and this is typically what you can do in a partnership, in an alliance, or as parents or in a couple. And it's all about designing an alliance and aligning rather than agreeing, and being able to create an experience for people around you that is bigger than what you would create by yourself.
Right, like what we're doing now.
Like what Carol and I are doing. And it is always about making the other person shine.
Yes.
Which
you do. You always do.
So the key thing is the leaning 100% in. So really asking for what you need and being there for the other person 100%. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then the last one.
Okay, so the last one is leading from the field.
Mm-hmm.
And this entails, practicing letting go of what is known and proven, and kind of trusting your own natural intuition and instinct. So sometimes you might have something going on in the office, for example, that's a problem, but you don't see your manager or other leadership addressing it. And so you can lead from the field. You can step up and make suggestions, bring it to someone's attention,
Right.
and speak your truth.
Right. This is the one that is probably a little bit more difficult to grasp and harder to explain to people. We will put a list of books underneath with our link. There are some books that help, like Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book called Blink. There's a slightly more heavy duty but important book in terms of changing and transformation, which is called Presence. And it is about slowing down and listening. It's about being able to take that distance and looking at a situation, not letting anything or anyone influence you, but simply allowing your gut or your intuition to speak. It's where you find that elephant in the room, that thing that isn't being said, that's creating chaos, that little movement that needs to be made that nobody's figured out. It's that thing, right? Or
Right.
In a family situation, it's when you feel like something's not right with someone and you just give them a call or whatever. So it is that connectedness, right? It's that place. And if we're a good front leader, we actually should be able to step into all these positions, right? Especially, or at least listen.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that takes time. I mean, I think we all naturally fall into one of those buckets. And as time goes on, or one or two buckets, and as time goes on, you
Right.
start to learn like, okay, in this particular situation, it might be better for me to lead from the side because
Right.
maybe you're dealing with someone who's, maybe their ego's a little fragile and you don't want them to feel like you're taking the light away from them. And it's kind of using your own instinct and your just life experience to kind of figure that out. But I also think leadership really starts with you and learning to lead in your own life,
Yeah,
because I think once you get that down, it helps in all these other areas.
absolutely. And in the next few videos, we will be talking a lot about how to slow down, how to get in touch with your intuition, how to get rid of stuff, how to start acting from a place that is of integrity. And actually, next video, Carol, do you want to just say what it's going to be about overall? So just we're introducing it.
Sure. So I think we were going to talk a little bit about what I'm doing in my program, as far as some of the steps that we start out with. And it really dovetails nicely from what we just talked about, because when you're talking about leadership within your own life, it's all kind of rediscovering who you truly are, why you're here, where you want to go, and learning how to get that guidance from
Right.
within, and then taking the next step from there.
Right. And having clear tools on a daily basis to access that information and that state of being, right? So in the next
Right.
video, that's where we're going to start with, like, how do we organize ourselves to be able to access these bits of information. If you're interested, as we said earlier, drop us an email, either Carol or I, and or message us, and we will send you a little homework sheet so you can start building towards adding all these information, building towards a plan. And thanks very much for listening.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us. I hope this was helpful, and feel free to add comments and questions in the comments.
Take care. See you next week. Bye.